Veteran broadcaster and journalist Michael Sharp died this morning at the age of 65. 118 people tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, while the death toll increased to 738 with the addition of 11 virus-related deaths. Quick action from the Manchester and Clarendon police resulted in the arrest of 4 robbers yesterday afternoon.
Police managed to capture all 4 men and recovered a quantity of goods that have been robbed. There's no place in Area 3 for robbers, and if you come to our area and commit robberies or any crime, we will catch you and bring you to justice.
And George Wright's application for leave of absence from the Jamaica Labour Party approved. Good evening. Veteran broadcaster and journalist Michael Sharp died this morning at the age of 65. Reports are that Mr. Sharp had been battling a severe illness for some time, for which he did an operation late last year. Mr. Sharp, who was the present news operations manager at the Jamaica News Network, joined RGR News as a broadcaster in 1983. He also served alongside the Jamaica Security Forces as a district constable and contributed to the media platform in Jamaica for over 40 years, where he was known for his outstanding work in the field of journalism. As tributes pouring for journalist Michael Sharp, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has expressed sadness at the death of this veteran. Mr. Holness tweeted earlier, quote, "I am saddened to learn of the passing of veteran journalist Michael Sharp this morning. For almost 40 years, Michael Sharp dedicated himself to the craft of journalism and keeping Jamaica informed. Michael was fearless and sharp in his coverage and commentary," end quote. The Jamaica Constabulary Force likewise expressed condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Michael Sharp. And Governor General Sir Patrick Allen has also expressed shock and deep regret at the passing of Michael Sharp. The Governor General described Mr. Sharp as the consummate journalist, media professional, and media educator who had a healthy respect for nationhood. In other news, the Ministry of Health and Wellness today reported that 118 people tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, while the death toll increased with the addition of 11 virus-related deaths. The new infections pushed the number of confirmed cases since the outbreak to 44,254. 69 of those affected are females and 49 males, with ages ranging from 1 year old to 89 years old. The cases were recorded in St. Catherine 18, St. Elizabeth 17, Kingston and St. Andrew 15, St. Mary 12, Manchester 11, Portland 11, St. James 11, St. Anne 6, Westmoreland 5, Trelawney 4, Clarendon 4, St. Thomas 3, and Hanover 1. Meanwhile, the 11 newly reported deaths are as follows. A 42-year-old male from Trelawney whose death was previously under investigation, an 88-year-old male from Trelawney, a 60-year-old female from St. Thomas, an 86-year-old female from St. Thomas, a 45-year-old female from St. Thomas, a 74-year-old male from St. Thomas, a 57-year-old female from St. Mary, a 94-year-old female from Manchester, a 74-year-old male from St. Anne, a 57-year-old female from St. Anne, and a 67-year-old female from St. Catherine. The ministry also reported 3 coincidental deaths, 130 recoveries, and 311 hospitalizations, 24 moderately ill and 29 critically ill. In the meantime, there were 130 more recoveries, increasing the total to 19,962, and 23,236 active cases. Dancehall artist Beenie Man pleaded guilty to breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act (DRMA) in the St. Elizabeth Parish Court yesterday. The charge of breaching the Noise Abatement Act was tossed by the court. He is scheduled to be sentenced on May 17. The DJ was charged with breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act at an alleged event held on November 29 in St. Elizabeth last year. Quick action from the Manchester and Clarendon police resulted in the arrest of 4 robbers yesterday afternoon. The police say the men had robbed 2 business places in Manchester and were trying to escape when the police teams started chasing them. Reports are that the men shot at the police during the high-speed chase along the busy roads linking Manchester and Clarendon. Head of the Manchester Police Division, Senior Superintendent Gary Francis, said that the men were eventually intercepted at the intersection in the vicinity of 4 Paths in Clarendon. The getaway grey Toyota Corolla motor car was also seized. SSP Francis has a message for the would-be robbers and those who have intentions to come to the area.
The police signal the driver to stop. The driver disobeyed. The police went in pursuit of the car, and the pursuit ended right here at the intersection of the 4 Paths intersect with the Bustamante Highway, where the men alighted the car and opened fire at the police. The police returned the fire, and the 2 men received injuries. And the police managed to capture all 4 men and recovered a quantity of goods that have been robbed. So far, the preliminary investigation revealed that the men are from a corporate area address or from corporate area addresses. We have also recognized that the registration plates on the car both are different, which indicate that the robbers want to deceive the police or even the persons that they want to rob.
Investigators say they are still probing the case and expect to charge the 4 men shortly.
We continue to police our space with that level of alertness and reassure citizens, and also to say to the would-be robbers that there's no place in Area 3 for robbers, and if you come to our area and commit robberies or any crime, we will catch you and bring you to justice.
Central Westmoreland Member of Parliament George Wright has taken leave of absence from the Jamaica Labour Party and has also been relieved of all party-related duties. The Operations Council of the JLP had commenced deliberations last week to consider the issue of Wright's membership in the party. The developments come following a meeting last week between the Secretariat of the JLP and Mr. Wright. The meeting took place at the directive of party leader, Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Mr. Wright's leave of absence from the JLP also follows his withdrawal from the JLP Parliamentary Caucus last week and his application for leave of absence from the House of Representatives. In commenting on the development, JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang says the party takes note that the Jamaica Constabulary Force has concluded their investigation without charge into the viral video. However, Dr. Chang says the JLP recognizes that there remains unresolved concerns in relation to the issue surrounding Mr. Wright, and as such, the series of actions taken in respect of Mr. Wright are necessary. Dr. Chang noted that the JLP acted within the legal powers afforded to it, both by Jamaican law and the JLP Constitution. The JLP says it reiterates its stance against violence against any gender, in particular the nation's women. The party also said that it wishes to underscore its preparedness to ensure that in the interest of good governance, action is taken even in respect of issues which have to date not met the threshold for prosecution in a court of law. In light of questions in the public domain and the media, the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Favour Williams, has contacted the Auditor General, who is currently probing the relationship between the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Western Hospitality Institute, WHI, and Joint Committee of Tertiary Education, JCTE. According to Minister Williams, quote, "We must answer to public concerns. The Auditor General is the constituted authority to independently carry out these assessments," end quote. The minister noted that concerns have been raised regarding the relationships with the ministry and the entities as they relate to the Career Advancement Program CAP and the Center for Occupational Studies COS programs. These questions require clarification. She said that the full report that is expected from the Auditor General will ensure the mandate of probity and accountability are maintained within the ministry. The minister has assured the Auditor General that the ministry stands ready to cooperate fully. Detectives assigned to the St. James Police Division are probing the circumstances surrounding the death of a child who died as a result of a fire at her home in Salters Hill, Johns Hall, St. James yesterday. Dead is Hemika Greenwood. Reports from the Springmount Police are that at about 2 p.m., a relative who was at home with Hemika reportedly saw smoke coming from the house and alerted the police. The Montego Bay Fire Department was also contacted. When cooling down operations subsided, Hemika's charred remains were seen among debris. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue. And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other stories, with the National Water Commission, NWC, advising that the drought has caused a decline in inflow and a shortfall in production at some of its facilities in the Western Division, as well as news that Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation and Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Leroy Williams, has made an impassioned plea for Jamaicans to support the government's One Child, One Tablet drive. But first, let's take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.